Hi, everybody. So happy. What in the world day is today? Happy Tuesday, you guys. Thank you guys for being patient. I know that we're 7 minutes in and we're just having, even unicorns have technical difficulty. So that is kind of what it is that we're experiencing right now. No, somebody just messaged me. No, I can't see all of your adorable little faces. But that's okay because I know that you guys are all there. So let me turn off my Slack notifications here. This is our first time using pause notifications. This is our first time using Zoom webinar, and I'm really excited because we're just all going to go through all of this together. I know Marissa, my little oh my gosh, ride or die, my partner in crime, she is in the back end kind of like figuring some stuff out. I also don't even see the opportunity for you guys to be able to ask questions if you can, or if you guys can in the chat talk about, because I see a lot of people that I recognize and I'm so excited that you guys are all here, but I can't see you. If you guys can put in the chat where you guys are at. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that very, very much. Ben, I don't know if I know you, so I'm excited to get to know you. Hi, my name is Sarah, and I am just going to start this. We have a beautiful presentation that Marissa, hi, Michelle, so excited you're here too. We have an amazing presentation. Marissa is one of the most creative people I've ever met in my entire life. And when we first talked about creating this webinar about DSOs aren't that into you, she created this amazing PowerPoint presentation about, and it's like centered around dating. So I can't wait for you guys to see it because it is amazing. I'm not sure. I see, Eileen, you were here, and I wanted to give you a shout out because one of the things that we, if you're not a part of DVIN, it's an amazing organization, DSO vendor, oh my gosh, DSO Vendor Insights Network. And they recently, in conjunction with Group Dentistry Now, just did an amazing and super fascinating and interesting survey. Eileen, thank you for that because we're using a lot of that information. Hi, Blair, I love you. We have a lot of that information that we're going to use. And again, while we're waiting for our technical difficulties to resolve themselves. Some of the statistics that were really interesting were about the small percentage of companies that even have a marketing budget for DSOs, along with some other statistics. So just for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Sarah Ruberg. I'm the CEO and founder of our Thrive Tribe. Our company logo is a unicorn. So if you see a lot of unicorns behind me, that's why. I've started this business 3 years ago. I've worked in the dental space for the past 15 years, DSO space about 10. And I started to understand more and more that how incredibly relational we are. So I built this business. We utilize LinkedIn primarily. So we work with industry partners who want to grow in the DSO space. And we do that through helping them grow their personal and/or corporate brand on LinkedIn. There she is.
Okay.
There you are.
Perfect.
I
Okay.
mean, I was bragging about your presentation, and I'm like,
I heard you. I heard every word.
okay, I was like, if they don't get to see it, then I was going to be sad. Um,
Can you see my screen?
yes.
Okay, perfect. I will hide this then. Okay. Hello, everybody. If you don't know me, if you weren't here for our last webinar or first webinar, I am Marissa Gonzales, and I have been working with Sarah. It's going to be 3 years in November.
It's
Isn't
crazy.
that insane? That's like actually insane. And yeah, Sarah's just the best person ever, but if you're here, you probably already know that. And yeah, we're going to talk about why DSOs just aren't that into you. And spoiler alert, it's probably kind of your fault. Kind of, but we're going to help you. And we're going to figure it out.
You can't tell. I'm a Taurus and Marissa's an Aries, so I'm nicer sometimes. But
Yeah.
not that into you yet. So
Yes.
we've gathered a lot of this information based upon we work with, oh my goodness, we've worked with tons of different companies. So again, we've built corporate brands in the space. One of the biggest trends recently, because if you know anything about our space, it is how relational we are. And if you've heard me say anything, you know it's about how important it is to build your personal brand and be authentic in our space. And so we're going to kind of talk about two different areas of this, building your personal brand, but also building your corporate brand. So Marissa, I'm ready when you are, my friend.
I'm so ready. We're ready to get rocking and rolling here. Okay, so trying to win DSOs over can feel like dating. I know Sarah was saying we kind of based all of this around that premise and that whole thought of like dating and how much of a struggle that is for some of us. But yeah, so many DSOs are ghosted after that first convo, first demo, or they're friend zoned, or you get like, oh, we'll circle back, in Q4 and Q2, like we'll circle back in a few months. Like that's never nice. Or again, being left on red just altogether, not even getting to see them. So, how in the world do we fix this? So, this is where Eileen and Group Dentistry Now's survey comes into play. So, thank you so much for that. 82% of 100 vendors that were surveyed reported being ghosted by DSOs after presentations. That's a big number. That's a lot to have been ghosted. So it's clearly a huge problem. What is the problem? How do we fix it? So the main problem, industry partners, vendors, there's a lot of problems, but a lot of times we see people leading with features and not value. So what you can do versus how that is going to help the DSO or the offices that you're talking to. Again, talking about you and not them. And these are, again, if you apply these to dating, it's the same thing. If you were on a date with somebody and they were just talking about themselves the whole time, you'd be like, this person doesn't care about me whatsoever. Like, yes, I want to learn about you, but also it needs to be a mutual effort here. And so in turn, you blend in as just another vendor. So DSOs want partners who get it. That means get what they do, get how they do things and how they want things done, the relationships that they have with their vendors. They obviously care about ROI, they care about scalability. How are they going to scale this across their, hundreds of locations, 50 locations, whatever it is. And they obviously want to trust those partners and they value alignment over, whatever flash you're putting out, whatever crap you're trying to sell them, truly. So the solution, you're not pitching, you're partnering. So lead with that. You're going to lead with what matters to them. Learn about that. If you don't know what they care about, ask them. They want to be understood. I think everybody wants to be understood. And especially if you're trying to sell yourself or position yourself as a partner, that is what you need to be doing. And that in turn will build your credibility and your consistency with your follow through and all of those great things. Stop love bombing. Stop love bombing in romantic situations. Stop love bombing with your peers. Start showing that you actually care about them and their growth and how you are going to be a pivotal part of that.
You mentioned blending in as just another vendor. And I think this is an interesting point because one of the hardest things to do is identify your unique selling proposition. And there's multiple different levels. If you are an entrepreneur, trying to figure out what sets you apart from everybody takes months. Your elevator pitch, it seems so simple, but it is literally the hardest thing. Even asking DSOs, I am sure if you guys have ever asked, like, well, okay, DSO XYZ, what is it that sets you apart? Well, we're doctor owned and led. Get in line. Even if you ask an individual practice, what sets you apart from the people down the street? Advanced technology. If you don't have advanced technology, that is what somebody asked, haven't been in the dating world for a while, and is peacocking still a thing, and does it work for DSOs? Peacocking, yes, is still a thing, and no, it does not work for DSOs. I don't really think it works very much for anybody.
You're saying
Anonymous,
alignment over flash, alignment over flash.
anonymous attendee. That was funny. But in so at a company level, sure. So if you're a salesperson at an industry partner, It's so important to identify what it is that sets the company apart. But to make this really easy on yourselves, blending in, because one of the unique, if you put all of your competitors in a row and maybe like one does something a little bit different versus the other, especially in the LinkedIn world, the number one thing that's going to set your company apart is you, the people. There, thank goodness, y'all, there's only one Sarah Ruberg. This world could not handle more than one. Okay. And I know that for a fact because I can barely handle one. So that is one of the main reasons why we love seeing people build their personal brands, because and your brand comes with you, right? And so you are your own unique selling proposition. So, okay.
I
I
told
think I think peacocking, if I remember correctly, because I worked at Eileen was asking, it's like, I mean, like a peacock, like flashing your feathers, and you're just like walking around like, pardon my French, like my shit don't stink because my feathers are like gorgeous. Like, look at my feathers. Don't look at everything else.
it's like it's again, it's trying to talk yourself up. It's trying to boost yourself up, which is good. Like you should be selling yourself, but in a way that's going to be valuable to everybody involved, not just you. And actually that segues perfectly into it. I was going to switch the slide, but I couldn't remember if it was this next one or not. But yeah, 44, again, Eileen, thank you so much. 44% of 100 vendors surveyed reported they have no clear value proposition. And not only is that a huge issue, but like, again, we're not surprised. Like it's a very hard thing to do and come up with. But that is why you're having this trouble explaining your value, selling yourself, and showing where your value really, really lies and is rooted in.
When people come to us, and especially if we're building like a corporate brand, and oftentimes they'll say to us, okay, well, we're very patient focused and that's what we want our content to be. And we say this in the nicest way possible. DSOs don't care. Do they care? Of course, they care about patient care and all of those kinds of things. Eileen actually had a really good DVIN call. Oh my gosh, I think this was last year. And she has periodically, she'll have DSOs on these calls to answer questions. And I remember somebody new was coming to the call, and I said to them, you wait, you see what it is that matters to these individuals. And these were a lot of operational people, like director, manager level. And they were like, patient care is so important, patient this, patient that. And this person texted me, they're like, see, you're wrong. And then their next answer to a question was, well, what about like the higher ups? And it's like, oh, well, they care about how your product or service is going to make us money or save us time. So I'm not saying they don't care, but not identifying what your unique selling proposition is and making sure that it hits their pain points. And again, DSOs, especially PE backed, want to know, how is your product or service going to make us money or save us time?
You can't have one without the other. You can't bring great value to patient care and not make them money. Like
Right.
it doesn't matter what you do, it's not going to fly. It's just not going to be enough. And again, that's part of you figuring out what your clear. Oh, here we go. 41% of 100 vendors reported they don't know how to tie their company to solving DSO pain points. And that's literally exactly it. They go hand in hand, and it's so how do you figure that out? How do we get here? So a lot of it is knowing your type, but knowing your type, as with DSOs, as in dating, it involves knowing yourself and understanding who you guys are and what you are offering. Not every DSO is going to be your match. If you're going in pitching to everybody, you're pitching to nobody. Um, when your message tries to fit everyone, it connects with no one. It's not personalized enough. It's not tailored enough. And again, it just shows that you don't know yourself or your company, that any DSO is going to be an option for you. And look for alignment. Strong partnerships come from shared goals. Identify DSOs that you know need a solution exactly like yours, supports their top priorities, whether that's again growth, revenue, efficiency, patient experience. If you're hitting all of those marks, and it's, maybe you do clear aligners or something, and you know that this DSO wants to head into that space or expand their presence in that space, that's perfect. You already know that you have a solution that can help them reach that. But like again, fit yourself or put yourself into their shoes and know what you need to be bringing to the table as well. And focus on the fit. The best results come when you're intentional. Again, that goes back to not pitching to everybody. Not every DSO is going to be your match, and that's okay. Like that's not a knock on you or them. Some are just going to be a better fit than others. Choose DSOs where your value makes a meaningful impact and put your energy into really building those relationships. Again, you're not just selling, you are partnering. A DSO is going to be a huge client for you. It's a big investment for them. So it's also going to be a big investment for you just in time. So these are not things that you can rush. These are not things, which is it's hard because we talk to a lot of vendors and they're like, I need 8 DSOs by next week. And it's like, that's not going to happen because you haven't built these relationships. You don't know these people. These people don't know you. There's a lot of groundwork that you have to lay before you enter into something like that.
And these are great points too, because a lot of people, you'll hear them say, whether you're a veteran in the space or new, once you've met one DSO, you've met one DSO. They are not made the same. And it's interesting to not every DSO is your match. And that could be as simple as saying, because a lot of vendors are like, we want to work with emerging DSOs, which I'd be curious to know in the Q&A if you guys want to message or mention what you consider emerging, because it like varies. It could be anywhere from like 5 to 30 or 50. And it makes total sense because these emerging DSOs, they're more, I like to call them impressionable, right? Like once you get to a certain point, you're like, we have 50, we have maybe a lot more things are like centralized or things like that. They're harder to kind of break into that space. See, I agree with you, Blair. I think 5 to 25. And if anybody would know, it would be Blair. And if you don't know Blair, you should look her up on LinkedIn because she's amazing. And Homegirl does an amazing karaoke of not Total Eclipse of the Heart. Was it Total Eclipse of the Heart? I think it was. She was fantastic. Anywho, Blair, thank you for that. Yes, I was right. If I can ever be a backup singer to anybody, it would be Blair. So that being said, choose like make sure that you think about who it is that you want to work with, whether it's regional or who, and it could be what type of, like you said, alignment or fit, but also don't, and it says stop pitching to every DSO the same way. And I know that we'll talk about this later as far as the marketing percentage that we talked about, but one thing I just wanted people to remember is Nancy Coy said this to me a couple months ago: build your network before you need it. And so, again, you guys are really what sets your companies apart, at least in my opinion. People in our industry almost fall in love with the person first before they even might know what it is that you do. People reach out to me all the time. They don't have a single clue what I do. They're like, I like that you talk about unicorns and you're in the DSO space. What is it that you do? I want to talk to you. Like people, that's what matters to people. So the reason I'm saying this is, and I know you guys have all heard me say this before, please build your personal brand on LinkedIn. Whether your current company is for now or for forever, you building your brand can bring attention to you, and it can also indirectly draw attention to your company and help you to be successful. So I really don't want people to wait on their marketing, their company marketing to work. And again, we'll talk about that later, but that's my little soapbox for personal brand.
I agree. I have so much more to say about that. And I know, again, here we go. Here's a great example of knowing the person and like kind of almost buying them first before you're buying into the thought of the company or whatever it is. Mr. Brad Hughes, lovely Mr. Brad Hughes. Again, this actually was on the Ask the DSOs, the DVIN call last week before. But yeah, he said, I want partners from day one. I'm looking for humans I can sit down and have dinner and a beer with. Talk about life and dentistry, maybe golf or college football. That's the number one thing far and away. Again, it's those relationships that are really going to set you apart. Yes, obviously he cares about the solution. Yes, he wants a better experience for his patients and make sure that it is producing revenue for him. But like what's going to make a partner to him is somebody that he can have a good relationship with. That's, again, I think people want to feel understood and heard, and that's a huge part of that.
And he uses that in potential acquisitions as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, exactly. I think that's actually what he was talking about at the time too. Um, 51% of 100 vendors surveyed reported they don't know how to explain financial impact in EBITDA/ROI terms. That's, that's another huge issue. It's like, it's really biting off more than you can chew. Like you can't, what is this saying? You can't like run before you learn how to walk or something. Like, yes, vendors want to do all of these things and have incredible DSO partnerships, but you need to start with yourself. Like, you need to start with building your foundation of, again, who you are as a company, coming up with these things, coming up with your unique value proposition, coming up with explaining how you explaining your explaining how you talk about your financial impact. Like all of these things are what need to be kind of ironed out before we're getting like the big fish. And it's always going to be evolving. Like it's never going to stay the same, but you need to have that foundation of an understanding of yourself too.
Well, this is where we can kind of go like back and forth between corporate and personal. So Marissa is doing a great job of talking about building your personal brand, but on the corporate side, DSOs love data. I cannot tell you how many companies we start working with and we're like, great, where's your data? Or what? We don't
Exactly.
have that. If you, that is what speaks the most in our opinion or in our experience to DSOs. But I just want to say, if you can spell EBITDA, you're in a good place right now, right? Like if you can spell it, if you can say it. I'm not going to lie, there were a couple of times when I first got into this industry and I really wanted to impress somebody and I didn't know what I was talking about. And I was like, yeah, well, EBITDA. And they're like, wow, Sarah. Yeah, that's literally how I got here. So, but no, I'm just kidding. But no, data is so important. If you want, I mean, talk about numbers don't lie. And if you, well, I mean, numbers can lie if they're fake numbers, but ultimately numbers don't lie. And that's what DSOs really look at. And that is a really key thing to help set you apart as well.
And that's, I mean, that alone is going to be like huge in, again, explaining your financial impact is, I've helped this DSO reach growth of whatever percentage. Like those things are going to be what really tells the story of what you're trying to sell them. Okay, be first date ready. Again, this is creating that foundation of you, but also understanding them as well. I don't know about you guys, but I think Sarah and I would probably feel the same way. If you're going on a date with somebody, you've probably stalked their whole life. You've probably you
Yep.
probably
I
saw.
would call you to stalk their whole life because I stink at that kind of stuff.
That's very true. Yeah, but my point is, like, you probably want to know something about them before you go in. And that's it, the same thing when you're, first talking to a DSO, whether it's, a demo or whatever it is. Learn their structure, know who's at the table before you sit down, know their ownership model as well. I know in the survey there was a stat about ownership models, and I don't remember what the percentage was, but it was essentially like like vendors are not taking that into consideration when they're pitching. I want to say it was in the 40s. Do not quote me on that, but like there was a large percentage of people that were not molding their presentation to fit who they were talking to. And yeah, don't pitch blind, map their goals first. Again, I think we know what generally a lot of DSOs want, which is to make more money, like as we've been saying, but also again, in building relationships, maybe you are, befriending somebody or building a relationship with somebody who's on, some part of their ops team or something like that. And just through that relationship, you get more insight into what it is, maybe long term that they're trying to focus on or things like that. Like there's homework you can do beforehand. Understand their priorities. Every DSO has a love language. And usually, as Sarah said, that's probably going to be data. So you need to have some good data to back up the points that you're saying. You're saying you bring good value. How so? They want to see numbers. They want to see those percentages. And again, like Sarah said, unless they're like faked or unless they're like very like portrayed in a way that's not accurate, like those numbers are not going to lie. They're going to be the most tangible thing you can give them at that point to understand what it is that your company can do for them. And again, speak to what they value, not what you sell. It's going to be both. Like you can speak to what you sell, but frame it in a way that is that has value for them? Why should it matter to them? Why should they choose you over hundreds of other vendors, industry partners that are out there? What makes you different? And again, as Sarah said, a lot of that's going to be in the personal branding and the relationships of it all. But you need to know what that difference is because you need to translate that for them.
I I really love Gary Vee, and I tell the story often, but he was talking about how he really wanted to land this deal, a multi-million dollar huge deal. And he went to LinkedIn because he loves LinkedIn. And he is a huge advocate for it, by the way. He's like, if you're not using LinkedIn, then like, what are you even doing? And he doesn't even know specifically about how well it works and performs in our space, but he did his research and he ended up finding this the CEO was really into, I'm going to butcher this because I do not play fantasy football. I'm not even into football, but like it was something to do with their fantasy football league. And like they both had like some similar, was the same player that they really liked on their team. I don't know. And Gary reached out to him via LinkedIn and started that conversation. Not, hey, sales pitch, sales pitch, sales pitch. Hey, I saw that you have this person. I do too. How are they perform? Or whatever it is that he said. They developed this relationship. And of course, he got the damn deal because everyone else is like, ooh, CEO, sell, 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 sell. So if you were going to start utilizing LinkedIn, part of your strategy should be, first of all, not just to message DSOs, but to message everybody, potential partners. And I'm sorry, when I say message, if we're going to go with dating, court people in the comments first. Do not just slide right into their DMs. Do not connect with them and then slide in and say, hey, sell, sell, sell. Like engage with their content. Be interested in what it is that they have to say. And I know that this is the long game, but I mean, what else do we have to do if y'all are sitting around waiting for DSO deals to come to fruition? I mean, we might as well all be like sitting like waiting to like go into the ground because some of these damn things take forever. So take the time to get to know them. There's a lot of DSOs that utilize LinkedIn owners, Brad Hughes, I never say their Dr. Anushka and her husband. Shoot, MB2 was posting a lot. Like engage with their content because it lowers that barrier of entry for when you do reach out to them and they're like, huh, I've seen Ben Fish. First of all, Ben or Benjamin, I'm not sure if that's how you go. Well, it looks like maybe you do on LinkedIn, but like that's an interesting name. I don't think I know anybody named Benjamin Fish, but I know that he's commented on my content. Therefore, I must know him in some way, shape, or form. And it's not just DSOs, you guys, partners. Industry partners are a huge advocate. I do not care if industry partner XYZ is at the airport and they're like, I'm drinking coffee. And you're like, what does that have to do with anything? But you know what? If they're a potential partner for you, you should be like, I love coffee too. Or maybe I don't love coffee. Like it does not have to all be salesy. We just want to get to know each other. That's all. So, which is interesting again, because we're so relational. So yes.
I believe we get more into the industry partner thing later, but like, yeah, I think so many, obviously we work with industry partners all day, every day, but so many of them are like, yeah, my biggest referrals or my biggest, introductions come from my other industry partner friends in the space. They're not going to come from the DSO. And to Sarah's point too, obviously landing any DSO deal is a huge breakthrough. So why would you not want to take the time into making it the best it can be? If you really want that deal, take your damn time and commit to it.
I want there's got to be, I love analogies and I'll have to really think about this, but it's if you're it's like a conference, it's a virtual networking, right? But imagine if you're at a conference. So people see me go to a conference and I flutter around like little butterfly unicorn that I am, and I go talk to everybody. And there are people that stand back because how many of us are people watchers, right? Because I love to people watch. And I look at people and I'm like, huh, that person knows everybody. I see them at every event. I see them talking to everybody. They must know people in this space. I want to get to know them. Y'all, it is the same thing on LinkedIn. If you consistently show up and engage with people's content from the comfort of your own home in your satin pajamas, if you've never heard me say that, here you go. Go get yourself a pair of satin damn pajamas, sit in your bed at night with whatever beverage you want, water, coffee, champagne, and network for free. And people see that. I make jokes about creepers all the time. So many people approached me at Dykema, Sarah, I follow all of your content, and I am actually one of those creepers. I do not say anything. I don't post anything. I don't like anything, but I follow everything that you do. How was your move to Utah? Why did you move to Utah? How did Eric Roman convince you to move to Utah? Like people, I feel like I'm a part of, I feel like I have a reality TV show. So if there's a camera in here somewhere, just I hope that I'm at least interesting for everybody. But what I'm ultimately trying to say is people are watching on LinkedIn. I'm sure you guys have heard it or even seen it like, wow, I see so and so everywhere on LinkedIn. It's exactly the same thing as watching somebody go network, except y'all don't have to get dressed up and you can wear satin pajamas. Duh.
I think we all, yeah, like whether you know it or not, people are watching. Like I think, and again, like we all know dental is such a small world type of place. Like obviously it's huge, but like you see somebody pop up on LinkedIn that maybe hasn't posted that often or doesn't post that often, and then you're like, well, wait, who is this brand new person that I'm seeing on my feed? I've never seen them before. Now they're everywhere. Like people take notice of those things. And again, for me, I see that person like, oh, what the heck do they do? Who are they with? Like, what's going on? So it just raises awareness in every way. Um, Create the ROI. We're finding the sore spots and you're becoming the solution. You're not adding noise, you're solving the headache. I think a lot of this is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, like in dating. But if you, like to Sarah's point about courting in the comments and all those types of things, we've all received that like random cold message that even if they're trying to have a conversation, I'm like, who are you? Like, but most of the time it's like a salesy type of thing. And it's, hey, I would love to see how we can partner together. I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you do. A lot of times they're sending these automated messages and they don't even know what you do, but they're messaging you. I just had somebody the other day. I mean, we've all had these, but like, oh, I see you work with a large DSO. No, I don't. Never, never have.
I love when they call me Dr. Ruberg. I'm like,
Wow.
well, if you mean Doctor of Unicorns, maybe, but no.
Like know who the heck you're talking to. Again, whether it's, in a DSO situation or you're reaching out to another industry partner in the space, like just be normal, be conversational, be normal. I don't know how else to explain. That's not a good explanation. DSOs don't need another admirer. Again, I always tell people like when we're interviewing new unicorns and stuff, I describe DSOs as like the Beyonce of the world. Like everybody wants to see them, everybody wants to talk to them and all these things. So they have enough admirers. They need a partner who is actually adding value to them.
We have a question. Do you think our corporate insecurities are having an impact on DSOs, whether directly or indirectly? And first of all, this individual, Mahesh, oh my gosh, I really hope that I said that right. I'm not sure if do you know what they mean by corporate insecurities, or and if not,
Maybe is it things that you guys are not fully like sure of? Like maybe it's like uh kind of like rough edges that you guys have that you haven't worked out that you're trying to figure out and you're wondering if that has an effect on DSOs directly or indirectly.
maybe we can get some clarification because I certainly want to make sure that we answer that. And if not, I'm sure we can send a message after. Um, but Mahesh has been like everywhere on LinkedIn, by the way,
Has he
doing an
has.
amazing job. So,
I will say even before we have clarification, I'll say yeah. Oh, did he say something?
somewhat you are correct, Marissa.
Okay. I think that's what it is. Like maybe things that they're not fully fleshed out yet or fully confident in yet, or maybe like you don't have all the data yet or all those things. I think it can affect it if you let it affect your conversation with a DSO. If they can see that you're unsure, or if they're seeing that there are things that you are not sure you can deliver on or whatever it is, like then that will come through. But if you come through with the confidence of like, okay, maybe here's what we're not sure about, but here's what I am sure about. I'm sure of the value I can give you in X, Y, and Z way. I think it depends on how you and your team are approaching it.
Well, it's about authenticity, right?
Yeah.
There's a really great book. I talk about this all the time. It's called Mistakes Were Made, but Not by Me.
Mm.
And we one of they I'm not going to go into all this detail about it, but it's just really interesting how people more so at the very end they section it off into like different sectors of people in the workforce, like therapy, law enforcement, and the last one was political, and it was about how even after going to war, I can't remember what president specifically it was, like his rating went up after he said, you know what, we'd already gone to war. People already died, lost their lives. And he comes back and says, I just don't know if that was the right decision. Like the president of the United States came out to the world and said, I made a decision that cost a lot of Americans and people international lives, and I don't know if I made the right decision. And like his like rating went up. People appreciate authenticity and just
Big on it.
transparency and being real. So don't, I mean, if you're gonna like lie to somebody on a first date, I mean, you better, if you're gonna tell somebody something, you better have the shit to back it up.
Yep. I would rather on a first date here, maybe, I don't know, maybe the person doesn't have a job or something. I don't have this right now. I'm working on this, but here's what I can still bring to like that type of vibe is what I mean. Like, and the way you approach it is going to be the way that it's taken. So if you're coming from a place where you're very unsure and you have like no solution, then that's a problem. But I think if you're coming at it with like, maybe I don't know what it is, but I'm working on it, and like our team is actively trying to figure it out, that is a lot more of, that's just such a more authentic answer than again lying or, trying to act like you have something you don't or, do something you don't or anything like that. Okay, 54% of 100 vendors surveyed reported selling to DSOs without fully understanding their tech stack and needs. Again, this goes back to knowing your role or not knowing your role and knowing how you can fit into what they have going on. I think these are a lot of like the early stage questions to ask too. Like, again, if you were on a date with somebody, how do I fit into your life? What do you like? What is your stack of life? Like, what do you do for job? What do you do after work? And you figure out how you fit into that scenario, if at all. And that is exactly what this is. If you don't have that understanding, find out. Ask.
I think this is a great way to be and a great reason to talk to partners, because if you all of these DSOs are dealing with adding so much stuff to their tech stack, and it's so, oh my gosh, and it's just so much, and it just is like so crazy. And David, I hear you. Breaking into the DSO space is not easy, my friend, but we can talk about that. um wouldn't it be cool, like if I own a business, right? Say I have like 5 different types of tech and I need to add another one, and one of them is Kaylin Mayfield with XYZ company, and then Marissa comes to me and is like, hey, we're going to add this portion to your tech stack. I've already talked to Kaylin Mayfield about this. Kaylin is an adorable member of our little team. And the two of us have already determined how we can make this work. You don't even have to worry about this, Sarah. Music to my ears. So this is why it's important. And when you already establish those relationships with other industry partners, it makes it so easy. So then if someone asked Kaylin, well, hey, I'm a okay, Kaylin, you work with us. We're a DSO, and who do you know that could do XYZ? Oh my gosh, you've got to talk to Marissa. And we've done this together so many times. It's seamless, because change management, whoo, not something that they like. And Mahesh, I just read your post that you said yesterday, and I think now I understand. It's we see, and I'll just kind of paraphrase, instead of seeing, we're connected to so many people, and instead of seeing them as opportunities to learn, we see them as competition. Yes, competition versus collaboration. I would like to believe that I think our industry has more of an abundance mindset We do ask on our onboarding questionnaire who are people that you don't want to engage with, and very few list their competitors. But then there are a few that are like, oh my goodness, we could never, ever congratulate a competitor. And I just want to say this to you guys. Could you imagine, right? Because not every DSO is created equal. So Marissa and I are competitors, and I work with a DSO approaches me, and it's not going to be a good fit. I still want to look good to that DSO. And I'm going to say, hey, DSO, little baby DSO, give me your little hand. I want to walk you over and introduce you to my friend Marissa. Her company does pretty much the same thing. She is amazing. I think you guys are going to be a great fit. Here you go, little baby DSO. Have fun with Marissa. And Marissa then cradles them in her adorable little long nailed fingers, and like soon to have Ariana Grande tickets to the selection of her choice. And she takes care of them. And what does that DSO do? They're like, wait, you just walked me over to your competitor, man. So someone asks that DSO, hey, who are you guys using? Well, I'm using Marissa, but also Sarah's company is great. Like, people love that. So I think it's really great to have a collaborative versus a competitive mindset, because you just never know. Hopefully
You
that answered your question.
really never know. No, but that's a really good point though. Okay, let's build chemistry. We're on the date, we're chatting, we're vibing, maybe drinks are flowing. Who knows? We're now we're building chemistry. So talk about what they care about. Again, maybe it's growth, maybe it's patient experience. We're not trauma dumping on them. We're not feature dumping on them. We are learning about them, learning what they need, learning about what it is that they want. Translate your value into outcomes that DSOs care about. Again, this could be cost savings. This could be how seamlessly you will transition into what they already have going on. Because like Sarah said, obviously that's a huge, um, roadblock for people that maybe you want to change things, but just don't want to deal with the hassle of it. So if they know that it's taken care of, you've done this a million times before, that'll put their minds at ease. Follow up, show up, keep showing up. Again, DSOs notice who invests the time. If you are just trying to go straight to, I'm going to slide in their DMs and ask for a call, you're never going to get, rarely will that happen, because they don't, again, if you don't have that relationship with them, if you haven't had any of that groundwork laying of getting to know somebody, putting the time in, all of those things make a huge, huge difference. So we're leading with their needs. We are showing how we can show up with ROI in their worlds. And we're being consistent, because over time, that's what's going to build trust in the long run. The best relationships, whether it's in the DSO world or in life, they're not built overnight. They're built by showing up with value again and again, and showing that you care and showing that you understand, and having a plan to grow with them. Red and green flags. Oh my God, we're going to talk about peacocking again, kind of. So, red flag, you're leading with, we're the best. We do, like, again, like Sarah said, you're going to have competitors. That's fine. But also know your place. If in her scenario, if she was talking to a DSO and she knew she wasn't the right fit, but if I was with the company that does something similar, but is maybe a better alignment reason for, whatever she found, that's great. You're not going to be the best in the space all the time for that specific person, and that's okay. Like that's part of it. If you only show up when you want the sale, again, that goes back to like a cold DM, random email, they don't know you, like that's not relationship building, and that's not a partner. So if partnerships is what you want, you have to act like a partner. Green flags, you listen more than you talk. You speak the DSO language. Again, you're talking about EBITDA, you're talking about numbers and percentages and data and ROI and all of these things that DSOs ultimately care about. Like, if you are leading with what you know is important to them and what they value, you're going to have a lot more of an impact when you do talk to them. Again, just like in dating, those red flags will lose you the callback, and the green flags also don't mean marriage. They mean a second date. So even if you do all these things, you can't then assume, oh, we're going to be in all 200 locations. We're like, we did it. Like, and this the goal ends there. Like, no, like you still have to work at it. Maybe it's a situation where they say, hey, we're going to put you in 5 locations and see how that rollout goes. And maybe if we enjoy it, we can continue rolling you out. It's, you're just building the relationship. It does not mean you've reached the finish line in a good way. Like you're there, you're doing the good things and you're making good progress, but you can't, because you feel like you've made it, give up or feel like that's the end of the road for the effort and the investment and all these things. Um, Green flags are keepers. They're keepers, and red flags do not get a second date or should not get a second date. Again, sometimes in dating, people see those red flags and they bypass them. And ultimately that's probably what ends up being a problem.
Sometimes if you peacock well enough, you just like get that second date, but then you really got to make sure that you show up.
Yeah, keep it up. Okay. And here we go. This goes into what we were saying about like have a wingman. It's okay to have a wingman and you should have one. And that wingman is going to be your fellow industry partners. 71% of 100 vendors surveyed reported having a collaborative partnership with another dental vendor. Again, this is huge. It tells you so much more about these DSOs. It tells you so much more about the experience that they're having in the space. Maybe they do something similar to you, and it's like, okay, I'm running into this roadblock. Are you seeing the same thing? Are you, all of these things. It gives you somebody to soundboard off of as well, and just have a good relationship with. And it's not just about the sale. It's about building the relationship. And again, that in turn will lead to others. Like again, back in Sarah's example, like if she and I hadn't had that relationship, she would have never known to recommend me, or maybe she would have thought, oh, she could be a good fit, but I don't know because I don't know her as well. But because we had the relationship in that scenario, she knew, wow, Marissa would have been such a better fit. I can walk the little baby DSO over to her and know that it's going to be knowing that they're going to be in good hands. Even if they don't go with me, I know they're going to be in good hands because I know her and that company. Um, so it's just build relationships with everybody, literally everybody. So what makes you the one? We have the pretty ring. What makes you the one? So it's not about being loud, it's about being aligned. Again, we're really talking a lot about peacocking today that I did not expect. But it's not about being loud. Like you are not just here to be the prettiest peacock and have the prettiest feathers they've ever seen. You are there to be aligned with them. Again, you're trying to become a partner, so act like a partner. Clear value is going to create trust, and transparency is going to create trust. And again, that authenticity and honesty that we were talking about, all of those things build trust. The consistency of all those things builds credibility, and your care is going to create loyalty mutually for both of you. It's not the flashy pickup line, it's the consistent follow through that's going to win hearts every single time. And I mean, that's really like those are the steps that get skipped a lot. Because again, like obviously everybody wants these DSO deals. That's not a secret, but you have to be able to put in the time to make it work. You can't jump from 0 to 100. You can't jump from, you're not just asking for a date, you're asking for somebody's hand in marriage. Like that's not, that shouldn't work for most people.
Marissa, how many, because I know we're 5 minutes out. How many more slides do we have?
I think we're reaching the end. I think we only have a couple left.
Okay. Because I know David had asked a question about breaking into the space. So maybe if I could take like the last like minute, like to just
Yeah.
kind of give some basic advice. But
Yeah. 1 second after this.
this was like really fascinating.
This was really fascinating to me as well. 48% of 100 vendors surveyed reported having no marketing budget for DSO efforts. Um, that's guys, that's insane.
Well, and it's so insane to me that when I talk to salespeople and they're like, and I don't see them on LinkedIn. And oftentimes, actually, a lot of referrals for us are salespeople who want us to work with their company, which I love so much. Thank you so much. But like, this is just how I think to myself. Don't y'all like money? Don't salespeople like money? Why don't you just take it? And I know that this because this is my zone of genius, right? So this is where I'm like, this is so easy. Just like post some shit on LinkedIn, guys. Like be yourself, be authentic. Like, um, Yes, anonymous attendee, DVIN, and Group Dentistry Now did this in conjunction with one another as a survey. So I think Group Dentistry Now like conducted the survey, but did it with all of the DVIN people. Eileen, please correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like that's kind of how I read the or understood that. So we oh my gosh, I just got distracted. Oh, salespeople. So I know that I'm out here like, oh my gosh, it's so easy. And I know it's not. DVIN did the survey. Okay. I'm sorry. We cited it incorrectly. My apologies.
Our apologies.
So thank you to DVIN. I don't know why I thought that maybe there was another survey. Anywho, thank you, anonymous attendee, for helping us fix that. We even again, if you're current, so David, this is kind of going to go to answer your question, and I'm not calling you out because I want to be I'm not trying to be mean or negative, but like I know you said that it's hard to break into our space. We're incredibly relational. If we want to be understood. So for example, your headline on LinkedIn says passionate leader and CEO and chief technology officer. I know personally when I scroll through LinkedIn, if somebody wants to connect with me or talk with me, if I do not see that they are in the DSO space, I'm out. I'm not talking to you. So I always recommend, and this is for anybody, if you, I think it's really important and be clear, not clever. If in your headline, and so this is just like a little, I know this is not necessarily what we're talking about, but I talk about this all the time in your headline, which is right underneath your profile picture. You can write and type a whole bunch of stuff, but LinkedIn truncates it for when you post and when you comment. And that's really your business card. So you want to make sure people know what you do and what industry you do it in. So I think it's about between 50 to 60 characters. And so use something like wordcounter.net and like make sure that your characters are in line. But I know you said IT. So because honestly, and I posted about this before, nobody cares that you're a CTO, CEO, CRO, CFO. If I don't know what your company does, I could care less what you do. So I think it's really important for everybody to make sure if that's one way you want to stand out. And if you want to grow in the space, the fastest way that I have seen to do it is to use LinkedIn. I know I tell the story all the time and I know we're almost done and I'm sorry, but 100 location CEO of a DSO reached out to me on LinkedIn. On paper, this man looked like a ghost. And his name, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know him, and the story is funny. His name is Vito, right? Great guy. I didn't know him. I thought for sure, I was like, this man has got a pair of cement boots waiting for me on the side of Lake Michigan. Like, who is this person? He doesn't like anything. He doesn't say anything. Yep, he was actually, in fact, a person, worked with them for a little over a year. Great person. Every time I see him, it's like, hey, I saw that post about how you went kayaking and that person's dog jumped in your kayak. And I'm like, can you just like some shit? Just act like you exist. But they don't. So
They don't exist.
they don't act like they do, but they don't act like they do. But yes, this was amazing to me. So if you were a salesperson at a company that does not have a marketing budget, please take matters into your own hands, y'all. Build the network before you need it. Because if this is not your forever, if you want to build your own company, like in the meantime, you're just cultivating this magical little network of human beings.
Little web. And I like not to there's a little QR code there. Maybe that takes you somewhere, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it takes you somewhere that we know. Maybe it takes you to some people we know even. Who knows? It's our website. It's our
And I know we're at time and I know we were a little late. So of course we totally understand if people like need to hop off, but maybe we can take just like a few more minutes to kind of like wrap
answer.
up.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of people come to us when everything's on fire and they're like, we need DSOs today. And it's like, okay, again, it's gonna take time. So again, invest the time DSOs require. Big clients need more than quick wins, they expect commitment. Go beyond the features. Your unique selling proposition matters, but it only lands if you tie it to their goals and show up consistently. Being that unicorn partner means you're not just different, but you are dependable, you're invested, and you are irreplaceable. The end game isn't the sale, it's the relationship. So, those are all of our slides. So if anybody has questions, comments, concerns.
Well, this is our second webinar. I'm sure that we will have more. The number one thing that people say to me in regards to why they don't post on LinkedIn is because people don't think that they have something important to say or that people want to listen to them. And I guarantee you that is not the case. There is somebody out there that is experiencing, as much as we all think that we're all unique. I mean, I'm a 4 on the Enneagram, so I think I'm literally a freaking unicorn that nobody is like me. It's taken me until my 40s to understand, oh shit, there are people like me out there, but like I still believe that I am like the one, the only. But there are so many people that come up to me and say, thank you so much for posting XYZ. It helped me feel this way or that way. And it's not just industry partners. DSOs are human beings too, and they want to feel understood and they want to work with somebody. And I know super fast story. I actually met a young lady who's become a really good friend of mine on LinkedIn. I tell this story all the time. I met her, I connected with her on LinkedIn. I live in Utah now, but when I lived in Tampa, I had no idea that I connected with somebody that lives so close to me. I literally could just move to the side and see the back of her house. And we learned all of this through LinkedIn. Head decision maker in a DSO. We're still, the bestest of friends, love her so much. But like, I remember she came to me one day and said, I'm trying to make this decision between these two tech companies, and one has everything that we need ready to go. However, I don't really mesh well with their team versus this other one loved their team so much. They're not exactly where we need them to be, but they're getting there. She picked that person instead, that company. Thelma asked, how can I measure whether my LinkedIn posts and outreach are creating genuine interest and engagement amongst DSO decision makers? Thelma, that's a really great question. If you do not have LinkedIn Premium, I highly recommend that you get it. Link and not hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. I don't know if people still do that shit anymore. I love LinkedIn Premium primarily because regular LinkedIn is like, oh, all these people looked at your LinkedIn profile. We're going to show you two and then blur out the rest. So LinkedIn Premium shows you the last 90 days of who's looked at your profile. I think that is an excellent way to see who's interested in your content. They call them vanity numbers when you look at engagements and impressions. That's not terrible, but what I like to look at is how many people are commenting. And anonymous attendee, totally agree. I just read well, I'm just saying hashtag not sponsored for myself. Thank you. But LinkedIn hashtags don't necessarily matter anymore. And interestingly enough, all of these like big influencers like Gary V and Richard Vanderblom is somebody that I like to follow. They tout video content all the time. I'm like a relatively entertaining person on video, I think, and I don't spend a ton of time posting video content because I don't necessarily have to. And even like you can look at like Ken Kaufman, wonderful, magical human being, him and his son, Dallin, most adorable little people ever. And Ken was promoting or producing a lot of video content. And then he decided, he and I talked about it. And I said, you know what? I think that you should start posting more pictures of yourself. What content do you think performed better? The pictures. We want to see pictures of people. And no, we don't need to know that you went and got a dang colonoscopy or anything like that. We don't need to know that by any stretch. But hopefully that was helpful, Thelma. I think Vito asked me a really great question. He was like, how can I determine the success of our strategy with LinkedIn? Is it numbers or is it a feeling? And it's kind of a combination of both. Really, who's looking at your profile? Are they engaging with my content? Do people find it valuable? But I didn't even say the number one thing. Posting is great, but the outward engagement. Comment. You don't just go to a conference and stand behind your booth. It's not very effective if you stand behind your booth and just wait for people to come to you versus you go talk to them. So find content to engage with. And that's what really does it. So post once or twice a week and outwardly engage. And that's when people are like, holy Hannah, I see you everywhere.
And leave a meaningful comment. I've been seeing a lot of people clicking it, like, you know how like LinkedIn now will suggest like the little AI generated, like, oh, congrats, Sarah. And it's like people do that. And then like LinkedIn is wrong a lot of the times. Like Sarah might have posted about something that doesn't even need a congratulations. Like it doesn't even actually make sense. I've seen that several times in the past week. So like and people are just like clearly clicking it, not reading the post and moving on. And like that's also not good. It's clear that like, oh, you didn't even read the post. You're just sort of there.
I
You
mean,
probably saw.
I think there's a time and a place, like when all these DSOs are like just yesterday, Smile Design or Heartland announced like acquiring Smile Design. I think that there's a place for someone to say like, "Wow, that's amazing! Congratulations!"
No,
Like,
yeah. No,
so
I mean like what was it? Like somebody posted literally like it was like, "Oh, I really liked this article. Like this like here's an article that I really enjoyed. I'm sharing it for you guys to read." And for some reason LinkedIn like one of the suggested comments was like, "Oh, congratulations." And so that person that's commenting, they saw that suggestion and clicked it and commented. Like it didn't make sense for them to say congratulations on a post like that. That's what I mean.
I got you. Well, I know I saw someone copy and paste with the ChatGPT lead in still in the top of the post.
Oh, God.
Ooh, ouch. I mean, honestly though, Michelle, I did that in an email to somebody and it was kind of a sensitive email. So been there, done that. And
Yeah.
ChatGPT is a great tool to use, but it should not be the only thing that you use. Also, people on LinkedIn really love stories. Most of my posts that perform well have pictures of me and include some form of a personal story. But I'm also very long-winded and I talk a lot. So I'll ask ChatGPT to kind of like, I actually like to talk to it in my phone. So I'm not like typing it. And I'm like, hey, this is an experience that I had. One thing I like to do before I get ready, before I get ready to press send or post on LinkedIn is I want to make sure and ask myself, what do I want people to walk away from this? Knowing or understanding. And if it's like, I want people to know how amazing I am, like, no. I mean, people already know that, but like, I don't know. Just, oh my gosh, Marissa, come get me. I took my meds today, so
Oh yeah.
that's my fault. But I mean, we're here. I see we still have quite a few people, and we're happy to answer questions. Marissa is really active on LinkedIn. I'm clearly, I think I live there. I have a house on LinkedIn. Um,
LinkedIn is my most used app now. I don't remember if I told you that. Like for the past few months, it's been my most used app.
aside from when you and I send each other memes on
Yes.
Instagram. So,
You and I are just being authentically ourselves. This is exactly how we would talk normally.
and two, I think the last thing I'll say is people are afraid to be themselves. But you know what, though? You end up, whether you're a business, whether you're a person being yourself, you end up weeding people out. Um,
And you attract the right people.
you attract the right people. Yes, Thelma. I'm also a very talkative person. How do you handle yourself so you don't go overboard and make the listener not lose interest? I know sometimes I talk a lot. That's a really good question. I think it's about um how do I say, maybe like, so when I see, I can tell when someone is like losing interest because
Reading the room.
you have to read the room and you just have to stop. And like, I'll even say like, okay, like I will have to remind myself because yes, I can talk. So I try to look for social cues and I try, but plus two, really, they should be doing the majority of the talking,
Yeah.
especially like, so ask questions. Jamie, breaking into DSOs, did I answer that question? I think there are a few things. I think we kind of said it in different ways, but if you want to break into the DSO space, please start using LinkedIn. LinkedIn for your personal. If you have
Uh-huh.
if you own a company and you're like, I'm just going to build our company brand, it's going to take forever. And while company brands are important to build, that's where you could use your salesy content, right? Like here at our Thrive Tribe, this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. But in most of my personal posts, I never, ever mention my company unless it's like, I'm really proud of our Thrive Tribe for doing this. Like, I never, ever mention it. So utilizing LinkedIn, and it's free.
Yep.
Um, how do you recommend handling the ROI data combo when what we do is branding?
There's some ROI in that.
Lisa, that's a really great question. And much like I said, like when Vito asked me, are there numbers? So sure, there's vanity numbers as far as awareness goes, but then there's also a lot of it is a feeling. And Marissa, you and I've been doing this long enough. I feel like the right people to work with are the people that understand that. If
Yeah.
that if that makes sense. Like if someone comes to me and they're like, numbers, 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 that's what I want. That's what I want. Sale, 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 sale. It's like, we're not a good fit because sure, we can get you in front of people, physically, digitally in front of people. You have to make that sale. You have to talk to that person. We can make an introduction. But when someone comes up to one of our clients at a conference, is like, I see you everywhere on LinkedIn. Like it's a statement, it's a powerful statement. People are reaching out to us. So, like, Lisa, I totally understand why that's a question that you would have. And I
That's
know
where
that,
like case studies come into play too. Like here's where somebody was before, here's where they're at now. There's a lot of things, or we've seen, 57% of people that have done branding with us have seen this percentage of growth or just more awareness building. All of those things matter.
increase in like speaking engagements or being
Yeah.
on podcasts. Like I started posting 5 days a week and all of these podcast requests started flooding in. And we've actually had people, um, we had people starting to ask us, oh my gosh, what was I just saying, Marissa? I got
We're
distracted.
talking about you started posting 5 days a week and then people were sending you
Oh, we had somebody reach out to us and they were like, we want you to help us get on podcasts, but we're not going to promote anybody in our company. So if you own a podcast and someone's like, I want to be on your podcast, what's the first thing you're going to go do? Go look at their profile. I'm sorry. I have a baby podcast, Boston and Bubbles. I know Mark Doherty is gonna like murder me if I don't start doing this more with him or unalive me, excuse me.
like.
Um, but it's important. A lot of times people on podcasts want to invite people that have strong followings because then not only are you promoting them, but you're also promoting your profile or your podcast to their audience. So if you want to get on podcasts, like you got to like put yourself out there. So Jamie, I don't know what it is that you do, but I think start posting about what's important to you on LinkedIn and start talking to people is how I would break into the DSO space. Because again, if you're coming from an outdoor industry or an exterior industry, I do not know how to explain dental. We're an enigma and we don't care about the same things that vets, optometry, med spa. We really care about people. And that's who we want to know first.
Yeah.
Okay. We still have 22 people, but I don't want to take people's time because we're now at 1:15 my time. Holy Hannah. Thank you guys so, so much. You're all adorable. It was really fun to see like a lot of different people's. Um, thank you, Mahesh and Terry. It's really great to see so many people that we don't know because I'm sure that I have harassed all of the same people for like 3 years now. So now I get to harass new people or lovingly lecture people. That's what I like to call it. So we hope to see you guys on LinkedIn. If you need anything, let us know. We're always there. Oh, Thelma, it looked like you raised your hand, but I don't know if you had a question. But if you want to reach out to me and ask me on LinkedIn, you're more than welcome to. Hope everybody has a most majestic rest of your day. And Marissa, I really hope that you get those tickets that you want.
Hope so too.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.